Hi guys, welcome back to a page in the chapter, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Paige and today we are going through my magical Hopathon TBR. I'm standing further back today because I've got to get the ears in frame, which make me quite a bit taller, and the framing that I normally use no longer applies when I have ears on, so further back we are. I love the magical Hopathon. This is round 3 of the magical Hopathon and it is the 3rd time that I am participating. I look forward to every single round and I am particularly excited about this round, the Disney Decades Challenge, because I am going to Disney next month, so that I have 5 weeks to go until my trip and I am so excited, and this is just gonna get me in the mood for the Disney parks perfectly, because it always does. The very first time I took part in this readathon, I think I did 1 day of the readathon and then booked a trip to Disney. So I'm blaming Rachel for the fact that I booked that trip to Disney and have subsequently booked my next trip to Disney. But I am super excited to share my TBR with you for this readathon. This is only a 1-week edition of the readathon, so it's not going to be as big of a TBR as I would like it to be honest. I think my TBR already is very ambitious because that's going to be an incredibly busy week for me as well outside of booktube, so we'll have to see. I will link Rachel's announcement video down in the comment section for you guys to go check it out if you want to take part. I highly recommend, because this is just so fun, so immersive, one of my favourite readathons that I've ever taken part in. And if you want to see a magical Hopathon vlog during that week, or you just want to see more from me in general, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below. Stay tuned for future content. I upload every single Wednesday and every single Thursday. Plus, if you subscribe, you can see how I actually do in the magical Hopathon. Do I read these books? What do I do? Anyway, without further ado, let's get on into my magical Hopathon TBR. So my aim for the magical Hopathon is to complete 2 rows of the bingo board, but I will be very close to completing 3 with the plan that I have for this. So best case scenario we complete 3, worst case scenario we just complete 1. We're aiming for the middle ground 2 here. So the first row that we are going for is 20s across, the very first row of the bingo board. So for 1920s, the prompt is read a book that features a strong family dynamic. Now, in the announcement video, Rachel said that found family can count for this trope. So the book that I have selected for this is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This was a book that I wanted to get to in October anyway. It is high fantasy, low stakes quest story about a creature who wants to open the first coffee shop in this world. And it is literally described as Legends and Lattes is a cozy, heartwarming story of found family, fresh starts, and the perfect cup of coffee. So if it's described as found family, it must be, and therefore I will be reading it for a book with strong family elements, because I really wanted to get to this month anyway. I really don't want to bite off more than I can chew books wise, so where I could, I have selected books that were on my TBR already for these prompts, and there's only a couple books that I went out and bought specifically for this readathon. So I am super excited to get to this one, and I will be starting with this book during the readathon. I think I should be able to finish it fairly quickly, especially if it's as gripping as I expect it to be, so hopefully this will be a perfect little start to the readathon. Next along this board is the 1960s, which is read a book you can't stop thinking about, and then after that we have the noughties, which is read a book with an illustrated cover. I plan on doubling up this prompt, because you are allowed to double up prompts as long as they are in the same row. But I have 2 options for this, so that I can mood read a little bit, or if I don't get to one, then it should also fit for another prompt as well if I decide that I want to go for another row. So my options for this are Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson. This is very traditionally illustrated of a cover. You've got like cartoon people on it, cartoon houses, and I cannot stop thinking about this book because it is set in Essex, which is where I'm from, and so I really want to get to it. It is a classic witchy rom-com about a house of witches and their new landlord, who is very confused at why none of them have paid rent for hundreds of years. But the thing that keeps drawing me back to this book and wanting me to read it is that one of the witchy characters is still angry that she was like burnt at the stake back in the 1700s or whenever. So the concept of the cast of characters in this is very appealing to me and I cannot stop thinking about it. And then my other option for this is The Pumpkin Spice Cafe by Laurie Gilmore. This I think is an illustrated cover. I would count this as illustrated, but it doesn't have people on it, so it's a little bit harder to tell. But I keep seeing people talking about this book. It is marketed for fans of Gilmore Girls. It is very kind of Luke and Lorelai fanfiction-esque. We follow our main character and she inherits the Pumpkin Spice Cafe from a relative, and we see her moving from the city to this small town and interacting with the grumpy, wants to stay out of town gossip and events local farmer named Logan. I cannot stop thinking about either of these books, and they are both illustrated, so one of these will be checking off both of those prompts and getting me closer to completing this line of the bingo board. But it will most likely be Hex Appeal, because this one fits another prompt that would help me complete another line at the end of the readathon if I had time. But it requires deciding if I'm gonna have time to complete 3 lines. It's all a little bit confusing, so we'll see how the readathon progresses basically. And then the final row of this bingo board is to share your TBR, which I am doing right this very second. So that is a nice big cross out when the readathon starts, and therefore that is my first bingo line that I will be completing and the thing that will mean that I complete this readathon. But we're not just stopping there, we're not, because we are also gonna go for Naughties Down. So after I've read a book with an illustrated cover, we're going to work down from there to complete another row of the bingo board. So down from there we have the 1950s, which is read a book by a debut author. Now, I went and bought a book for this because one came to mind and I really wanted to read it. So I extended my October TBR just so that I could have this book in this readathon, and that is Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mira. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I have seen a lot about this book. I think it started out as like a TikTok series that has now been written and published. I'm a little bit nervous about it because it's coming from TikTok, but if I had just read this book or come across this book and hadn't known it was from TikTok, then it would be something that was right up my alley and I would be really interested in. So I'm deciding to give it the benefit of the doubt. So this follows our main character Evie, and she takes a job as an assistant to a villainous character out of pure necessity, but he is a very attractive character and she is really struggling to keep things strictly professional, especially when she comes across a plan to take this villain down and bring him out of his position of power. She has to really very much choose sides and decide what she's going to do about this situation. It should be a fairly quick, short, honestly just a fun little villain, maybe supernatural read, and this is a debut novel by a debut author, so it very much checks off the prompt. The next thing that we need to cross off in this column is to join a live reading sprint. That should very much be possible, but as I said, I'm having a very busy week that week, so whilst I'm going to do my very best to make it to any live reading sprints, I will count it if I like watch them back or I only make it to a little bit of a live reading sprint. I'm hoping I'll be able to, fingers crossed. It should work out. It's just that I have a hell of a lot of plans and things going on that week and a lot of change going on, and I just don't really know what I'm going to be doing, but I think I should be able to make a live reading sprint, so I think I'll be able to complete this column. Also, the live reading sprints for this challenge are what make it so immersive and fun, so I'd be really upset if I couldn't make one, and making one is a priority. And then the next prompt in this row is the 1970s, which is read and anticipated for the release, and for this I think I will also be doubling up Assistant to the Villain, because this was anticipated in that when I finished my master's degree and I did a huge book haul for autumn and spooky season books, I tried to buy this but then added it to my wish list because it wasn't out yet, and I don't like to pre-order on Waterstones because I don't trust them. So this was kind of anticipated, I didn't spend like every moment of the year like waiting for this to come out or counting down for it or anything like that, but I had heard about it before it came out and then I wanted it. I'm pretty sure that because 70s and Read a Book by a Debut Author are in the same column, I can double up. I'm hoping they don't have to be touching each other to double up. If not, I will find a different anticipated release because I'm sure that there is one, but if I can double this up then that will be really helpful because it means that I can complete 2 rows reading 3 books. So that would honestly be great. And then I would be able to complete 3 across, the second row across, if I read a book set in a different country for the 1990s, which could be Pumpkin Spice Cafe because Pumpkin Spice Cafe is set in a small town in the US. So it might make more sense to read Hex Appeal for the illustrated cover so that if I wanted to complete another row I could read this one and hit that prompt, but also that depends on me being able to read 4 books in a week, which has been done before but is more reliably done when I'm reading on Kindle and also when I don't have a busy week. So it's a little bit stressful because I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing. I don't want to commit to a plan, but we will see. I might pick up some more books that fit prompts and things like that as the month progresses. We've still got time. I'm filming this quite a bit ahead of the readathon starting, so things can change, and I will be vlogging the week that I take part in this readathon, so any changes or updates or things like that will be in that vlog so you guys can still see them. But for now, this is my magical Hopathon TBR. The fact that I could be able to complete 3 rows with 4 books feels a bit like I'm cheating. If all of my doubling up is legal, then I will do it so that I can maybe complete at least 2, maybe 3 rows in a week. But we will see how things go. It kind of depends on if this is fast out of the gate. If I could get this read the first day of the readathon, then I think we'll be alright. It just depends how things go. But honestly, lots of autumnal spooky season books on this TBR. I think it's going to be incredibly fun. I love the bingo board like setting of this. I really wanted to do a Booktober bingo, so this has kind of scratched that itch for me and I'm really excited about it. And I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my magical Hopathon TBR. As I said, I will be putting the announcement video and Rachel's channel down in the description so that you guys can check it out and take part if you want to. Also, if you're not following Rachel, then you should be, because this readathon is just the best thing to happen to booktube. I'm not gonna lie, I find it so incredibly fun. My bow is wonky. Rachel, if you're watching this, please tell me if my doubling ups are legal or not. Fingers crossed they are. And I am counting down the days for this readathon to start so I can get into these books. I'm excited about the vibes, I'm excited about the energy, I'm excited to read these with Disneyland Paris music on and Disneyland Paris ambience in the background so that I can get all in my feels and ready to go for my trip in November where I'm going to catch all of the Christmas stuff, and I'm just so incredibly excited about it. So if you guys liked this video and you would like to stick around and see more from me, then do please feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below. Stay tuned for future content. I upload every single Wednesday and every single Sunday, so there is no shortage of bookish content here for you to enjoy. Also, do please feel free to check me out on Instagram and Twitter at Page and Chapter, because I will probably be posting 1,000,001 updates for this readathon over on there, so you guys will be able to see how the readathon is progressing whilst you wait for the vlog to come out. And so I hope you guys are having a fantastic week, you're enjoying everything you are reading, and there are no reading slumps in your future for the magical Hopathon, and I will see you for my next video. Bye guys.